if you love electric vehicles and understand the paradigm shift they're going through and what electric batteries and the role they're going to play in the future of electric vehicles, renewable energy, you're going to love this interview with HPQ Silicon. And here's why. I'm going to set up just a little bit. The anode plays a crucial role in how the battery works. I'm not going to go into all the science behind that. Just trust me, it does. Today, graphite anodes dominate the market, but they've essentially achieved their maximum performance in terms of energy density. So how do we increase that? Enter silicon. Silicon anodes have up to 10 times the energy density of a graphite-based anode, which is why Porsche, Mercedes, GM are all betting on silicon anode batteries. But that bet comes with a big risk. They're known to suffer from significant degradation during charging and discharging cycles. And if you know batteries, that's a major problem. Enter HPQ Silicon, who thinks they've got the solution to all this. And today's press release backs that up because their France-based affiliate, Novasium, was awarded 90,000 euros or over 130,000 Canadian dollars. That's a grant towards work on their engineered SiOx anode battery material. Bernard, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, surprised you? Back once more.
December 20th, man. We thought I was going to be able to avoid you. Go, nah, we're not going to have a Wednesday, Thursday interview this year because it's just too close to Christmas. What news can come out? And bam, how big of a milestone is this to be granted this money and recognized in France, the very place where Novasium operates? So that's our big picture. How big is this?
It's very big. Because what it is, it's a concept of the French government created called the deep tech, the Fonds Emergence, which is fundamentally to finance really innovative strategies that are going to be needed to reindustrialize Europe and those issues. So what they do is they help startup like Novasium is. Basically, if they have a project that they deem that has a massive and massive implication, industrial impact in France and worldwide. Okay, it's not an easy check. There is a process of check and balances, and it's really go through. It's not the amount of money is nice. We got the first deep tech award grant is maximum of 90,000 euro. Okay, that's the maximum, and we got the max.
That explains a lot.
So it's a maximum of 90,000 euro because it's for startup companies. All right, it's for companies that just started. You just come up with, we started company XYZ and we have this great thought that we're going to do for SiOx. It's more than that. And then industry expert working for the BPI basically review the information and says, is this something that would be strategically important for France? And fundamentally, it basically gets you into the process. If you ever dealt with government grant process, it's a question of you have to enter the door, you have to have a project, and you have to be validated. So that's what it means. The project, our engineer SiOx philosophy vision, okay, has been validated. All right. I started to talk more about this, and I mentioned this many, many times. In our engineering SiOx work, okay, I'm following the same strategy I did with fume silicon, which is wait until we get closer to having significant results from our work. But even as we design the concept of our work, we already getting notice. Right? This is a $2.5 billion euro fund to start up this thing. It's not just the 90,000. That's not it. Then there's an additional stage. La Banque Publique, what's the exact right name? The French Bank of Public Investment, BPI, is a big institution. It's as big, if not bigger, as the Caisse de dépôt Investissement Québec. All right, and it's within the European structure. So to get them to say, "Oh, what you're doing is really interesting and interesting enough for us to give you $90,000," okay, which some people consider to be junk change and just lunch money, but still, it's past the subject. Is important because it sets up the next phase. Once you've done the work for the first deep tech grant, you then have an industrial. You have a pre-commercial industrial project, and they're there for the next phase. of that financing. And that's where
and you
we're
said
at the
for that,
no.
and you said for that with the upcoming results, I'm reading from press release, from ongoing engineered SiOx battery tests, you're planning to seek potentially up to 2 million euros from the French Bank of Public Investment. So the question I have for you is this first 90,000 euros going to help you get to that? Or are these tests already underway? And if so, when ballpark might we see the results?
No, we said with the Jed said with the upcoming results, basically means, you know, we've made material. We've made what we considered a base case material, and then our other material, and we're waiting for the results of the battery testing, which could be probably beginning of January. We'll start getting them, and then once we get them, that means we'll get them, we'll analyze them, figure out what works, doesn't work, regular R&D. But as it regards to how to manufacture engineered SiOx, like the material that's presently being used to put in batteries, we know pretty much all the steps that are required to do. We have already identified equipment manufacturer that could supply us that equipment. Okay. As I said later, at the beginning of the year, we said, we are aiming to become by 2024, maybe 2025, to have a production line to start making battery grade SI based material. Now, over the year, that has changed because as our understanding of the battery industry has moved, it has changed. I think there's a text in the press release where we say silicon is the most promising candidate that can drastically improve the anode performance more than 10 times. But the industrial application is very limited due to unresolved issue regarding the use of the volumetric expansion. So everybody knows that that's known in the material. Key point is the use of engineered material instead of pure silicon enables overcoming the problem. The issue, which has become very, very clear to us. Okay, when we started this, we thought, okay, we'll make QRR material, it's 3Ns, the base ingredient. We'll make it the right size, and we'll plug in the batteries, and there we go. We've discovered, we've learned that the industry has tried this. It doesn't work. You need to go as engineered SiOx material. Now, the good news is engineered SiOx material needs 3Ns feedstock to make. So it's part of our strategy. But this is what's being done in the industry. This is where it is. And we've presented a project about how to make our own engineered SiOx material to a group of experts. And they've said, oh, it's very, very good. Here's 90,000 euros. You guys go and start to make the process. With this and other things we finance, we've done our own material. We're testing it. Then we'll know the complete recipe. We'll be able to make the counting to start building plants and start working then with battery manufacturers. They're going to want to include in their anode material some of that material because they're buying it from China right now with that material. So they're going to love to have a local supplier. And we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just basically taking a look how the wheel is manufactured and seeing how we can improve that wheel, make it better, and basically replace foreign source supplier, which basically have issues that people don't want to. In the US, you lose tax credit. And in Europe, it's about the same concept also. So that's what this represents. Our vision, the vision that the teams at Novation had with regard to the battery space has been recognized. That validated. It's an independent validation from a big financial institution. That's literally what it is. It's not the 90,000 euro. Well, great, we're not going to complain about it. But it's the validation. It's another concrete demonstration that we are advancing the right direction, and we have a good vision of how we're going to implement our battery strategy. That's all what it is.
If someone didn't know any better, it's right on my screen as a question I had for you, which is exactly that. What I took out of this that's bigger than the amount of money, and that's still big, but what I got out of this is a third-party validation, because you've got all sorts of fudsters, right? Who this is what their job is, these sons of bitches at the end of the day, is to spread enough doubt as possible, fear and doubt that Bernard doesn't always talk about, HPQ, Pyro, they don't know what they're talking about, Novasium doesn't know what they're talking about, and they don't got it. And they try and say it any way they can. And here you have a third party, the French Bank of Public Investment, where you say BPI approved the grant following a rigorous selection process, which involves having its sector experts validate Novasium's characteristics, the product's innovativeness, and its industrial impact in France and worldwide.
Right,
I forget the 130,000 Canadian dollars. That to me now tells me, even me, I've always believed in you, of course, but now I'm saying, hey, there's a third party who said, yeah, this stuff is real, that we're going to give you the max on the first tranche of 90,000 euros.
You know, George, it's funny you say this. If you take a look in the last 60 days press releases that we've issued, okay, we got a US startup which is raising a lot of capital to start building their own gigafactories that came up to the same conclusion. We've announced about our own proprietary basically surface treatment that will improve battery performance. And now we're basically saying our pathways to make engineered SiOx, okay, in France and worldwide has been recognized by a third party. So if you look at the accomplishment of what HPQ has done in the battery space with regard to using silicone in battery space, okay, which is going to reverberate on everything that we're doing, okay, we're hitting it out. It's unfortunate right now that if you just look at the share price, you're going to say it's not there, but that is temporary. That is transitory, to use the word of the Fed, which is actually funny now because they're saying, oh, well, maybe he was right about the word transitory. But anyway, I'm digressing. But you understand what I'm saying, okay? It's transitory. The fact that it's transitory doesn't mean it doesn't hurt if you own shares in the company and you see the value going down. But the fact is that we didn't go on the fetal position, stop working, sucking our thumb, waiting for the money, saying the market's unfair. We're getting attacked by FUDs, or for circuit shorted. No, what we do is we're focusing on what we're doing. We're advancing our projects. We're moving forward. We keep telling them where we're going, how it's going to be moving forward. In the last few months, we've talked a lot about our fume silica. We're talking a lot about our battery work, our engineered SiOx, and we'll start talking more about our hydrogen also. So HPQ has three very, very solid, basically verticalities. Eventually, I have no doubt that one of them, okay, and that probably all of them will be Grand Slam home run.
I'm gonna mark that as for.
Then again, you got to remember that Babe Ruth may have the record for the most what was it, home run or basically safe runs.
Not anymore. He did for a while, but not anymore.
Oh, well, it shows my age. I don't follow baseball since but
hey,
fun.
Getting back to this, the validation of the tech is great, but what I also like is the second part, and I'm wondering if you have any sense for that, which is any feedback you got from them, which is the industrial impact in France and worldwide, because there's clearly two parts of this. Hey, HPQ, Novasium, you might have great tech, and we validate it, but it has no impact in France or around the world, so we're not going to fund you. You have to fulfill both of those. Do you have any sense for what their conclusions were in terms of potential industrial impact in France and worldwide?
Well, their conclusion is the same as ours. Okay, there's tons of gigafactories being constructed in Europe. Okay, tons of massive amount of gigafactories. They're going to require massive amount of graphite. And if they want to be competitive, they're going to have to include within their graphite some engineered SiOx material to improve the performance of their batteries, make them lighter. There is so many technical advantage behind this. And when we presented this, we explained this vision, and we have regular discussion with them, and everybody is seeing the commercial and how we can work with one partner, 2, 3 partners. Because one of the things these things do is they allow a mariage or sort of like a maillage of different companies that are working the same direction. There's a certain way in Europe. At one point, government agencies finance almost all the companies, so it makes it easier for the contacts to work and develop. So that's what's going on, and this is the beauty of what we're doing. I keep repeating, whatever we are doing in Europe is replicatable in the US. Whatever we're doing in the US is replicatable in Europe. And those are two massive batteries. And if Canada ever gets, this finger out of their nose and basically recognize silicon as a strategic material, great. If not, they'll be stuck trying to figure out how we're going to have electric car. Everybody's going to have electric car by 2030. So they're not going to have silicon. It's going to be impossible to do it without adding a better battery. And this is what we offer. And
Bernard, I always ask you this question, and obviously you just put out the news, so it's too early, but this press release, you put it out. I'm assuming I haven't checked, but the French Bank of Public Investments must put some kind of notice because it's
no, that's
public.
not. Well, everything in France is like computerized and issued, and probably somewhere it is written. But
yeah, what I'm saying is somebody's tracking these things, right? Somebody's tracking because this is public knowledge. Here's the question I have. Does this put HPQ Silicon on the global map now? Because, listen, anyone who's looking into silicon for batteries has seen this press release today. I don't care if you're in Toronto, Montreal, France, or China, Australia.
George,
does this put you on the map?
Well, it keeps putting us on the map. It's a question of reminding people we're on the map. Like I'll give you something interesting. Through all my communication on LinkedIn, I've started having a conversation with a CTO of a battery company based in Singapore, and we're starting discussion and getting those things forward. I was having a discussion with somebody in the fume silica industry, and he mentioned this press release. Says, "Oh, you guys are doing some really interesting thing in that area." So what this is part of a communication strategy. No, it's not a pump. Sorry, Futster, it's not a pump. It's part of a communication strategy. It's part of a marketing strategy. The goal is to explain what we're doing, where we're going, how we're advancing, how we're reaching those goals. And this is what we're doing.
And look, fume silica, you got
NDA
signed.
You there.
Because you got to cut it short. Usually you go longer, but on the fume silica side, you got NDA signed with some of the biggest fume silica players in the world. That from the comments you've had. Now you've got, like I said earlier, you have an MOU with the battery with Excelix. Now you got BPI here granting you money. To me, it just you've done exactly what you said you're going to do with the company, which is you were going to be early on information. You're going to wait until you knew what you had, which disappointed some people and accelerated some of the fudsters out there. But it's clear as day now that that you're hitting on all cylinders. We haven't heard a lot from the hydrogen side yet. I mean, we've heard some, but between fume silica and the battery side, could have gone any better in 2023, Bernard?
Yes, the market could have been better. But it has nothing to do. It's like I read an article on what was it? It was all the high flying EV car battery manufacturers that went public through specs in the US. Okay. And how they've all lost over 90% of their value from the top, and they're supposedly on survival mode, trying to figure the way out they've gone because they've gone so big because they thought money was everywhere else. The advantage of a company like HPQ Silicon, we're accustomed to operating in this environment. We're accustomed to operating lean and mean and basically advancing our project with the funding we have and getting them moving forward. It's not HPQ. You can't look at the balance sheet of HPQ and try to figure out what's going on. You got to look at the heart of what HPQ is, which is the technology we're developing, which has value, and which I believe in 2024, for some of our project, the value proposition will become crystal clear.
So is that dropping more breadcrumbs for us? And it seems like whenever you drop breadcrumbs, you do come through with a nice little surprise at the end. So how do I
Well,
ask
not
you
at the
that
end
to
of the
be
year.
more
Like,
specific? But you
I'll,
seem very
I'll try to
confident
take
that
a few days off.
2024.
Huh?
What's that?
I'll try to take a few days off, although I'm going to be pretty busy. It's like I've never seen it like this. I've never since before Christmas. It's like you would think that things would slow down. No. Now what? Today we had a 3-hour discussion so we can get like a $300,000 government grant for not government R&D credit for those discussions. Like there's so many things ongoing at the same time. It's moving well.
You want to talk about tongue in cheek? How one of the fundsters was complaining
Well,
at this
I've
amount
already
of
made a
money.
joke about this, but I sort of noticed I was looking
Yeah,
for.
but extend does this cover lunch? Because they're saying
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
basically your
yeah.
this is basically lunch for you. I don't think it's enough for your lunch. I've seen you eat lunch at some
Oh
of the
no,
high. You're good for €100,000 bill.
I'd be sick and dead if I ate that much. No, it's it's like you announce good news and they're trying to come up with the any worst type of situation. And based on my experience, okay, companies that have nothing don't get that type of treatment. It's as simple as that. If we didn't have something that was scaring somebody somewhere, we wouldn't have this. And as I said, I'm more basically my feeling is more for the retail investors that doesn't understand the game being played by the big institution and those hedge fund, okay, that get conned by this, okay, by people that are paid to basically say negative news and basically said that everything that's positive about a company is pumping. No, it's not. Okay, it's not. This is not pumping. This is a factual fact. We got a grant, and our technology was validated by a large institution. Try to make it as you want. It's not negative. So I'm more. It's more the mental effect that this has on the cumulative mental effects on the investors, which is what they're looking for. Okay. But if HPQ really had anything, they wouldn't bother doing this. They wouldn't be here. So my message to all this is HPQ is going forward. We have incredibly good technologies that will change the world, at least in the fume silica part, and that will advance the electrization and the EV situation. Okay. Fact is, we need better performing batteries. To have better performing batteries, you need SiOx. To make SiOx, you got to know how it's done. You got to know how to make engineering SiOx. We have that. We have the QRR that can make the 3N material that's going to be the feedstock for SiOx. We have the knowledge, okay? $6 million man. We have the knowledge. We have the capacity. That's what we have. And that is worth a lot, okay? We understand who are competitors here, who are our allies and what we're going to be doing, and we're going to continue to grow in this regard. There is a massive opportunity in manufacturing battery-grade SiOx material in North America and in Europe, and we're well positioned to take advantage of this. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, and look, fundsters aside, anybody out there that might be worried because of things they're hearing online or might be concerned as to whether do you have it, this is the ultimate third-party validation. I'm going to say it again. BPI approved the grant following rigorous selection progress. Sector experts validating. It doesn't get any better than that. It's what you've told us is fact. And it's such a nice Christmas present for everyone to get. It doesn't put gold on the Christmas tree yet, but it sure tells you that we've got the rainbow, right? And we're getting there. So it's December 20th. Is there any chance I'm going to be getting another call from you before Christmas, or do you think we're winding it down? And
I think this may be my last Christmas shirt interview of the year.
Well, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Bernard.
And to all of us, may 2024 be a great year for us. And I believe it will be. I'm very confident it will be.
Thanks, Bernard. Thanks, everyone at home, all HPQ shareholders. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Another nice gift on the tree from Bernard and the team at HPQ and Novasium and everybody that's involved in this. Have a great day. See you next time.
Hey Small Cap fam, I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agora.com? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agora.com small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.